can confirm right now that this officer-involved shooting situation has been resolved for now. Right now, the police are kind of shifting into investigation mode. There are no fatalities reported. This all started when an adult male was pulled over at around 7. That person didn't stop, sped away, and police had to use an intervention technique that caused the car to crash. Now, there was a confrontation and shots were fired, and that man was injured. Officers then began to negotiate with him, but he didn't cooperate. The crisis negotiation team and special emergency reaction team talked to him for about 2 hours. Eventually, he surrendered at about 10 o'clock. He was then transferred to the hospital. Now, police are just in investigation mode. Police say there is no danger to the public anymore. Sergeant Kevin Allen with Portland Police says the investigation can take about 3 to 4 hours, so Southeast Holgate will continue being closed.
We're going to keep it closed probably for the full 10 blocks, just to give our investigators room to work. Like I said, there's, anytime an officer is using deadly force, that's, one of the most important types of investigations that we do.
We're still working on getting any more information about this situation. We will post any information we have. Let's say the housing funding proposal is expected to pass, and if it does, it could take some pressure off of tenants who are at risk for eviction right now. State officials say right now, over 10,000 Oregonians are at risk of eviction.
The reason for this is that there have been basically a roadblock in terms of getting all of the people who've had rent issues because of COVID through the system.
Even a short period of homelessness or housing instability can do generational damage.
Representative Julie Fahey is the Housing Committee chair.
We don't think anyone should be evicted while assistance is on the way to help them.
$215 million is proposed to prevent winter evictions.
It'll help about 8,000 families that are facing eviction right now.
As for drought relief,
a big part of that is to go towards those people who were affected by the heat dome. And so people who've had long-time agricultural businesses there. And another and crucial part goes to something that's been building for a number of years. There's a water crisis in the Klamath Basin in south central Oregon.
If passed, $100 million will be provided. Both housing and drought relief are expected to pass.
There could even be a deal. Republican votes may go for the rental assistance one if there are Democratic votes to go for the agricultural one to deal with the drought.
As for illegal cannabis suppression,
we've now legalized marijuana, and yet there's still the illegal cannabis grows going on out in the woods and things like this. It's impacting our market for legal marijuana, but it's also having an effect on law enforcement. They need more funds so they can put more resources into cracking down on these illegal grows.
If passed, $25 million will be provided for a statewide plan. And as for the Afghan refugee resettlement,
a lot of states across the country, with the end of the U.S. occupation in Afghanistan and pulling out, have opened up their doors saying, we will take Afghan refugees.
If passed, $18 million will be allocated to help local groups with those efforts.
So it would go, for instance, to help churches, to help them expand what they're doing, to open more doors, get more refugees in here.
Now, Catherine, the special session starts at 8 tomorrow morning. There is a start time, but there's no end time. Anyone can introduce something not on the agenda. Of course, Katu will be watching, and we'll see what happens tomorrow morning.
Well, Catherine, staff at Meadows tell us this weekend's storm was exactly what they needed. Take a look at this snowpack. Mother Nature delivered 3 feet in the higher elevations, and this spot was bare ground just a few days ago. Now, resorts are hopeful a strong season lies ahead. This was the scene at Mount Hood Meadows Sunday afternoon. Long lines and people ready for a day back on the mountain.
It is a bit of a late start, but I think that this storm setting a nice base is really probably setting us up for a good season.
Staff at the resort tell us they had to move quickly as the storm came through, training staff, preparing lifts, and getting patrol out to monitor for hazards.
This has been a Herculean effort, and it started with the harvesting of the snow out of the parking lot and getting it prepared to put up on the slopes. So we have a great team. We anticipated this. We had all hands on deck.
A new change this season, lift operators no longer have to police mask use outside. Dave Tragathon says that's a welcome change after his team constantly issued citations throughout the last year.
We're used used to being in the hospitality industry. We're used to smiling and talking to people face to face. And, you know, when a big part of your job is making people cover up their face, that's not as much fun.
People on the slope say they're excited to have access to the lodge and the returned ability to eat and drink indoors again.
You couldn't go into the lodge lot, and when you're skiing out here all the day, you kind of want to go inside and dry off a little bit, especially if you're staying up here, and so it's a lot nicer, I think.
It was a limited opening at Mount Hood Meadows with only 3 out of 11 lifts operating. I'll show you what's being done to expand that moving forward, coming up tonight at 6. This was the scene outside Providence Park throughout the day on Saturday. Before the game, that meant crowds filling restaurants, and bar owners are hopeful the nighttime economy sees a benefit as well.
There's light at the end of this tunnel now. It seems that we've had a lot of focus this last week on cleaning and organizing and getting things spruced up for the match.
At Kingsland Kitchen, a breakfast rush was waiting hours before the game began.
The game for us in general for Portland is just fantastic, absolutely brilliant. You know, boosts the morale here, especially downtown. Yeah, we've seen a significant upturn in business today from 9 o'clock the minute we opened. We've had fans in, home and away.
Business owners say they recognize a lot of coordination went into cleaning up the streets here. But Dan Lenzen tells us he's hopeful those efforts can continue in the months ahead.
Well, here's a plea to all the people in charge of being able to get activation. We need this, what we've done today. We all need this. A vibrant downtown is important to the entire region.
We shared this with the mayor's office, Travel Portland, and city commissioners. Commissioner Mingus Mapps responded with a statement saying, quote, "If our approach to beautifying downtown worked for the MLS Cup, we should institutionalize it and expand it." In the meantime, businesses say any foot traffic will help curb issues like crime.
We have a lot of great things going for us. When we have a lot of folks in one area, our crime levels can tend to go down because the criminality doesn't have an opportunity.
Both owners say this was encouraging timing as well, as they want to attract more people to the neighborhood this holiday season.